Hello there, my beautiful friends. So today I have a pretty interesting and possibly controversial topic to talk to you about. I wanted to bring to light why I personally think people should be purchasing from indie brands, or at least giving indie brands more attention. We all know that I am obsessed with indie brands here on my channel, and I just have some thoughts and opinions on why I personally think that more people should be paying attention to them. So if you are interested in hearing my own thoughts about why I think more people should be purchasing from indie brands and giving them a little bit more attention, then go ahead and keep on watching and let's jump right on in. We all know that I have to give a little bit of a disclaimer here, and this is YouTube, so sometimes when you hear a differing opinion that is completely opposite from yours, people get all up in arms about it and feel some type of way, and that is not going to be this type of video, okay? If you don't want to purchase from indie brands, if you don't like purchasing from indie brands, if you just like Sephora and Ulta brands, that is a-okay. Everyone is allowed to like whatever the heck they want to like. These are just my personal opinions and thoughts on why I think that more people should be purchasing from indie brands and why I personally love them. So without further ado, let's go ahead and chat about it. So let me guys give you just a little bit of background information on why I wanted to make this video. So yesterday I was just doing the usual like I always do, being a total couch potato, and scrolling through Instagram, and I came across a post from the Indie Mood, who is essentially the indie makeup version of Trend Mood, so definitely check her out if you have not yet. But nonetheless, she had posted about a brand called Menagerie Cosmetics. Now, quite a while ago, Menagerie Cosmetics basically expressed that they wanted to bring forward a palette that was more blue themed, that was basically based off of blue whales and marine creatures and whatnot. It's a really cute concept, a really interesting idea, something that we really haven't seen that much of, and basically the brand had posted a mock-up palette of what this blue whale marine life palette would look like if they were to put it into production. Now, if you're not already aware, indie brands obviously do not have the funding that a lot of bigger brands have. They don't have those parent companies that give them funding and whatnot to mass produce these products. Oftentimes indie brands are usually one-man or one-woman shows, so they just don't have the products and the money and the resources to be able to mass produce things. So oftentimes brands will put out mock-up palettes and basically gather information on how much interest they think will be in this palette. That's exactly what Menagerie Cosmetics was doing, and this is an absolutely beautiful palette, and unfortunately, although many people were excited for the palette, they're just not going to be able to bring the palette to market due to a lack of interest and a lack of traffic to their Instagram. Basically, not enough people know about them and not enough people were able to see the mock-up palette to be able to express their interest. And when I read this Instagram post, I kind of just got this sinking hole feeling in my stomach, because it's not fair to me that these brands don't get to produce these amazing, interesting, unique products because of a lack of interest or a lack of social traffic to their social media. I personally don't really think that's fair, and some people might disagree with me. That just seems to be the way that the market is going these days. It looks like it's just going to be going straight ahead towards social media traffic, and even though I can recognize that that is just the way of the world and that's just the way that things are going, I still can't help but feel very bad for these brands who have really interesting, unique ideas, who have great formulas, who have amazing products for a cheaper price than Sephora brands and Ulta brands and whatnot, that just don't get the amount of attention that they should be. Now, I am someone who purchases from indie brands, of course, but I'm also someone who purchases from Sephora and Ulta and bigger name brands who might have that parent company above them that makes it easier for them to mass produce things. But once you get exposed into the world of indie makeup, you basically can't go back to not purchasing it, because there are so many interesting, unique ideas for a cheaper price, and the quality of indie makeup is typically on par, if not better, than Sephora and Ulta brands. Now, this is not to be said for every single indie brand, and this is obviously not to be said for every single Sephora brand as well. Some Sephora brands are better than indie brands. But from my personal experience, I have just found that I prefer the quality, the price tag, and the overall selection of colors and textures and different types of products that you can get from indie brands over things that I can get from Sephora. And just for an example to show you guys what I'm talking about, this is an eyeshadow from Menagerie Cosmetics. Now, I just got this in the mail pretty recently. I purchased this with my own money. Menagerie Cosmetics has no idea that I'm making this video or that I exist, but I just need to get this out there because this is an amazing freaking product, okay? This is a single eyeshadow from them, as I said, and this is basically a duochrome foiled kind of sparkly eyeshadow. This is $5 for this giant pan. You get 2 grams of product here. I'm just gonna barely tap my finger into the product and wait till you see this swatch. Like, look at that. Look at how beautiful that pigmentation is. Look at how unique that color is. And this is just a really beautiful formulated eyeshadow. And it just really bums me out and makes me sad that there are just all of these hidden gems that are out there in the indie makeup world that just aren't known, or people decide to skip over because it's a brand they've never heard of before. People just don't want to jump out and take that chance on some of these indie brands, and in turn, they miss out on some really amazing products, and as a result of that, it also hurts the indie brand and the indie brand's revenue and what the indie brand can produce from there on out. Now, I'm not trying to shade anyone or throw anyone under the bus, but just to show you guys a comparison between this amazing single eyeshadow from Menagerie Cosmetics versus something that you could get in Ulta or Sephora. This is the Urban Decay Naked Heat Palette. Now, I'm in no way throwing this guy under the bus. This is a really good palette, but this retails for, I believe, $52 or $54, and I'm just gonna go ahead and swatch. Let's swatch this guy right here. This is the shade Lumber, and I'm just gonna pick some up on my finger, and I just want to show you the difference. And by no means am I saying that the Urban Decay shade is bad at all. It's definitely a good shadow, but to me, there is definitely a quality difference between these two shadows here. And of course, the better shadow, in my personal opinion, is the Menagerie Cosmetics shadow, which is a lot cheaper, and you're supporting an indie brand. You're supporting someone's, someone's baby. People put their blood, sweat, and tears into making these brands. And it just really sucks to have amazing products and to have figured out a perfect formula and some interesting colors that are new to the market and have no one to actually see them. And one thing that I wanted to add to this conversation as well is that so many of these mainstream brands don't ever really seem to come out with super exciting and super unique products. They don't really experiment with a whole lot of, interesting eyeshadows and interesting colors and whatnot and so on and so forth. And since indie brands don't have that parent company above them, a lot of them are just, doing it on their own. They have more creative freedom when it comes to putting together different color schemes, different products and whatnot. So that is another reason why I think indie brands are absolutely amazing, is that most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, they have really interesting concepts and colors and formulas and textures to choose from. And not everyone has this type of mentality, but there's definitely a stigma and a mentality against wanting to purchase from brands that you've never heard from, or brands that you've never heard, your favorite YouTuber talk about, or whatever it may be. There's definitely people out there who just don't want to purchase from brands that they just don't know anything about, and I implore you to do your own research into brands. Look up multiple swatches of their products, get different videos of swatches of their products, look up customer reviews. Those can be really helpful as well, and even obviously YouTube videos, because they are really helpful when it comes to deciding if you want to purchase from a brand or not, deciding if the brand has decent products, great products, or crap products. But after all of this rambling here, the point that I want to get across is don't be afraid to try brands that you've never heard of. Do your research into them, definitely. Make sure that they have decent products, and make sure that they're not just some weird scam, basically, with makeup coming from China or whatever. But if you find a brand that interests you and you've never heard someone talk about it, or you've never heard of them before, don't be afraid to take a chance, because I have found so many freaking amazing products that have just become my #1 makeup products that I basically can't do my makeup without, through taking a shot in the dark and trying out things that I've never heard of or that I never knew about before. It has really helped me, expand my makeup collection and expand my creativity with makeup, if that makes sense. Now I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up here, but one thing that I want to encourage you guys to do is to go over to Instagram and take a look at the Indie Mood and Indie Makeup Spotlight's Instagram pages, because like I said, they are basically the trend mood of indie makeup. They basically let you know of all of the new indie makeup releases, and I have found so many amazing indie brands through their page, so I'm very thankful for them, and they have amazing Instagram accounts, so definitely go check them out. And the final thing that I want to end this video on is just giving you guys a list of indie brands that I think are better, cheaper, and have more interesting color schemes and selections than Sephora and Ulta and big name brands. Now obviously you guys know, if you've been here before, that I love Clionadh Cosmetics. They have beautiful duochromes. They have so many gorgeous shades to choose from. They are one of my top indie brands that I love. I love Give Me Glow Cosmetics. They have absolutely amazing matte eyeshadows, and their metallic eyeshadow formula is just to die for. Menagerie Cosmetics is another brand that I am a little bit newer to. I've basically only tried their shadows for the past 2 weeks or so, but I am freaking obsessed with everything that I've tried from them. I have one of their eyeshadows on my lid right now. I just find their metallic foiled duochromy type shades to be so unique, and the color selections that they have are absolutely beautiful. Touch of Glam Beauty also has some really beautiful products. I love their highlighters. I love their sparkly eyeshadow. Kristen Lee Cosmetics has some really beautiful iridescent shades. She has one of my absolute favorite brow bone highlight colors in the world. I also really love Vanessa's Vanity, who has some gorgeous metallics. And the final indie brand that I want to tell you guys about is a brand called Enchanted Luster Cosmetics. She is based out of Australia, and she has the most beautiful, unique pressed trichrome products. She has pressed glitters, she has pressed metallics, and she has beautiful, interesting, bright colors. I love every single one of the brands that I mentioned here, and obviously there are so many more indie brands that are absolutely amazing that I just can't think of off the top of my head right now, but there are so many good ones out there. So please, if you are into makeup and you are interested at all, even in the slightest, in trying indie brands, I implore you to give them your support, because, you know, the market is really tough to navigate now. I would say it's probably tougher than it was 10 years ago here in the influencer market, especially for indie brands who don't have the money and the funding and the marketing to be able to get social media people to talk about them. I mean, I hate to say it, but it seems like that is what's really basically making these brands stand apart from the indie brands. Basically what's keeping the high up brands at the top and keeping the indie brands at the very bottom of the pool, which is not freaking fair, because some of these brands are absolutely amazing. But I have just about talked your guys' ears off, and I am sure that you are very tired of hearing the word indie brand, because I've said it about 1,000,000 times in this video. So I'm gonna go ahead and hop off here, but I just want to leave you guys with some food for thought, and, you know, encourage you to think about purchasing from brands that you may have not purchased from before. But with that being said, I hope that you enjoyed the video, and let me know down in the comments how you feel about this, if you feel differently, if you agree with me, and let everyone know what your favorite indie brand is and maybe what your favorite product from them is. This way people who are interested in wanting to find new brands can find some down below. But if you enjoyed the video and you are interested in hearing more about some of these brands and you want to see more from me, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. And if you enjoyed the video and you thought it was helpful in some way, then I would absolutely love it if you gave me a big old thumbs up as well. But I hope that you are having an absolutely amazing and beautiful day wherever you are, and thank you so much for joining me here today. I hope to see you next time. Bye!